Good morning, everybody. I have not done an update on this channel here in weeks. Probably people thinking, dude, this dude fell off. He's gone. He doesn't do content anymore. I haven't even been putting it out on my financial channel, which had a lot more frequent, short updates daily. Been so busy with work, the later stages of my woman's pregnancy with our second son and our son, right? I mean, He's in childcare, sadly, but this last week he's been out sick because he's got a really runny nose, and we just can't put him there. It's like against the rules right now, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing this video. This is my election video, right? This will probably be a 15 to 30, maybe 45-minute rant, and the longer the better for me because I'm killing time sitting here 1 hour before the polls open. Literally, it is 6:06 a.m. Western time out in Reno, Nevada, where I live. The sun is not up. It just has barely cracked this side of the horizon, and we're starting to have a little bit of a blue sky here, but it's 37 degrees, and I'm standing outside with a winter Russian hat and an extra layer, but that's it. I could probably be a little bit warmer. Um, One thing I will say I regret is waiting till the last second. We moved out of California into Reno, which made registering for voting a little tricky because I needed proof of residency. I got it. I got to the DMV a week and a half ago and did finally apply for my Nevada state license so I can start buying goodies that don't take 10 days, if you know what I'm saying. But also, I put in my voter registration twice. Now, get this, the first time I sent it through the mail back in the beginning of October, late September, trying to get ahead of this, beating the deadlines. I got a message back from the county, Washoe County, which Reno is in, saying that my form was unreadable and was damaged. What a bunch of BS. I wrote it pretty clearly. So, yeah, I do not think you can outrule foul play there. I mean, I've sent stuff through the mail all the time. It's never been damaged. So my voter registration was damaged. Of course, it was marked Republican. I don't have any proof, but I couldn't register that way. So I tried registering online, but you needed a Nevada state license for that. So went to the DMV and did all that. And, as of yesterday, I checked their online voter registrar and I still hadn't been registered. So we're going to see this morning when I go to the polls, which are supposed to be opening in about 50 minutes. And I'm like the first one here. So hopefully I can just be in and out. If I have been registered, and if I have, then it should be a no problem to just vote. And if I haven't, they give you what's called a provisional ballot. The only thing is the provisional ballot, like, I don't know if it will be counted today in amongst tonight's countings, right? The results tonight. I could have technically gotten in the car right now and driven the 3 hours into the SF Bay Area where I used to live and voted in California. That would be really hard for family today, given that we only have one car. And also, I mean, I got work. I didn't take the day off here, so I have like 15 calls. That's the other thing. I have so many calls every day now, guys. So I'll have a bigger impact in Nevada anyway. Nevada is a state that could go Trump this year. So California is not going to, but maybe Nevada can. And this is where I am. The video that I'm doing right now isn't really supposed to tell you about the current situation. It's supposed to tell you how I got here. I want to give you guys a little bit of voting history, a little bit of my political history, so you know where I'm coming from. It doesn't really start until 9/11. Before 9/11, I was just a happy kid. I didn't really think twice about politics too much. Sure, in 1992, I knew who Bill Clinton was. He beat George H. Walker Bush, who was, I guess, a one-term president. And then I didn't really care. I mean, my dad was a huge Clinton fan. My mom kind of just went along with my dad, and whoop-de-doo, didn't really give a shit. Now, fast forward to 9/11, I'm sleeping. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and my brother rushes into my room to tell me that our country is under attack. The World Trade Center has been hit by a plane, and then another plane, and he pops my TV on, and like, I'm in bed just waking up watching those planes hit the tower. What a shitty day that was. I remember going to school. All of our classrooms were talking about it. I remember like before we even knew about bin Laden and thought about bin Laden, like it's going to sound so dumb, but some people thought Yasser Arafat from the Palestinian region thought that he was behind it. He wasn't. He had nothing to do with it. But yeah, basically, it was 9/11 that kind of started things off politically for me. And the country was still very united at this point. But I can remember the exact event a couple years later that really was the first in my life point of time and event that I could see where the country was foundationally splitting. Now, older people, boomers, Gen Xers are going to be like, "Oh, dude, we've been splitting way before the 2003 Iraq War." But that was when I really noticed a difference between left and right, and people were really fighting, and people were really arguing and not getting along. Before it was kind of like, they're Republican, they're Democrat, whatever, we can all get along. After the Iraq War invasion, it seemed like the left and the right were never going to come back together. And I was on the left. Let's be clear. I was on the left. I was 18 that year, 2003, when, what's it called? Bush decided to invade Iraq. And that, for a little while, kids around my age, I had to just fill out my draft card. We're kind of worried about a draft, but that wasn't really a thing. They had plenty of numbers in the military. They did not need to draft, but I was very opposed to that war, as opposed to the Afghanistan invasion that happened right after 9/11. I think most Americans were pretty united on that. Left and right. We just got attacked. Let's go. Let's go get them. But yeah, the Iraq War, right? When George Bush and Colin Powell, who has completely disgraced himself, when they falsified reports to say that Iraq had WMDs and that we needed to invade to prevent Saddam from getting a nuclear weapon or a chemical weapon, what a disgrace. We ended up killing, I think, well over 100,000 to 500,000 Iraqis, while we Americans, I think, how many did we lose in this war? Like 30,000, 50,000, something ridiculous. 10,000? I don't know. A stupid amount of Americans and Iraqis died for nothing. And at that point, I was really like, okay, fuck the right. Fuck conservatives. Fuck George Bush. Fuck rich people. Now, I wasn't anti-white. I am white. And back then, there wasn't an anti-white male push like there is today, okay? It was just, those guys are the bad guys and we are the good guys. They want war. We do not want war. It was that simple. So in 2004, for the very first time, I voted for John Kerry. That was the president who was running against George W. Bush, who ended up winning and went on to be the president again until 2008. In 2008, we were still in Afghanistan. We were still in Iraq. John McCain was running with Sarah Palin against Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Of course, Biden and Obama were the hot ticket. Back then, we were all, including me, euphoric about this idea of we could actually elect a black president, and how progressive and amazing and what a sign of the times changing would that be if we elected a black president. So we all did it. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008, and super excited and celebrating the night he won. Really, I remember exactly where I was. I think I was in college. I was in community college class, and we literally, I think, announced the results on a Tuesday night in class. It was pretty cool. At the time when I thought about that. Now, let's just hold up before I keep going, and let's just take a tally on where I am politically in 2008. We literally had this mortgage financial crisis, right? Like there were these shady mortgages that banks were lending out to people who could not possibly afford them were getting kicked out of houses they shouldn't have bought in the first place. And it was brutal financial crisis for the time. So everyone was really mad at bankers and big industries, right? And Obama seemed like this saint who was going to save us from these evil rich guys. So in 2008, I was definitely a lefty, though, if we look at the issues, I was always pro free speech and pro Second Amendment. I mean, basically, I was a classic liberal, right? I mean, that's what liberals used to be. They used to be anti-censorship, pro First Amendment, pro Second Amendment, pro the whole Bill of Rights. Like they loved the Bill of Rights the same way Republicans did. It's what we all agreed on. Today, the left is communist. They hate the Bill of Rights. They hate America. They hate the history of America. They hate the gender of the people who founded America. They hate the race of the people who founded America. It's a complete opposite of where things used to be. And it's unbelievable how people on the left, I mean, they either have gone that way or they haven't. Holy shit, there is a fire. That is a house fire for sure. What the fuck is going on? Oh dear. That's a black smoke fire. And you know, guys, I hate to say it, but it's coming from the direction of where my house is. Oh, that's really shitty. Oh man. What is that? You know what, guys? I'm gonna pick up the phone real quick and call my girl just to make sure that's nowhere near where she is. I'll be right back on this recording, okay? All right, folks, I'm back. That's definitely not my fire, but you know, I had to check. I had to be cool. In fact, the smoke turned white really fast, so it looks like they already just threw water on it and it's getting put out. You know, you just got to check. Um, and yeah, so I mean, basically, right, we had this 2008 crisis. The left was, you know, still classic liberal at the time. Um, they aren't today. And it wasn't until 2011 when I got my very first job, when I saw my very first paycheck after college that I worked so hard to get. You know, I hated college, guys. I hate classrooms. I literally just did it because I knew it was a little ritual you had to go through to get a job in tech sales in the Bay Area. And that was totally accurate. That is true. And that's how I ended up starting my career, is by going to college and getting out of it and then starting in sales, entry level. Wasn't until I saw my first check and saw all the taxes they were taking out that I was like, wait a minute, what the F is going on here? Like, that is so much money. Like, I can barely afford rent as it is. Like, and you're telling me this is all I get to keep in my check? Like, unbelievable, right? So, I'm not saying I completely converted to being a Republican on that day, but the conservative fiscal seed was planted in my mind that very day, as it has been for many, many people who are kids and like they think they're getting, you know, $12 an hour working at a retail store, but they're really getting 8, you know, and then they come to find out when they see their paycheck taxed into oblivion. 2011 also was the year of the Occupy movement. And I remember clearly sitting in my desk at my new job, my first job, and my brother sending me text messages like, dude, you should quit work and come to Occupy Oakland. It's so cool. I'm like, why? What are you guys doing? Well, we're just smoking blunts and having such a good time. Like, okay, I'm at my job. I'm going to keep making money. And right then and there, you kind of started to see this rift. I would have been right there with those people if I had been 5 years junior, you know, if it was 2006 and not 2011 for me. But no, I had become a big boy and I was doing my big boy job. And then you're looking at these people that my brother's hanging out with who are in their 40s and 50s, who are complete fucking losers, who are smoking blunts at a day rally, right? Like Occupy Oakland, Occupy Wall Street. What a joke. I'd say 2011 is really where things started to go for me, and it started swinging to the right. But it wasn't going to be until years later, right? Because in 2012, I still voted for Obama. I didn't see anything attractive about Mitt Romney. He just seemed like another bad Republican. God, I don't even remember his running mate, Paul Ryan. What a piece of shit both of these guys have turned out to be, right? Kind of glad I didn't vote for them. And let me just tell you, if you don't believe in the Uniparty, look no further than the 2012 election. The person who created Obamacare was not actually Barack Obama. It was, in fact, Mitt Romney. He used to be the governor of Massachusetts, and Obamacare was a Massachusetts program that Mitt Romney rolled out. It's called Romneycare. So, what am I telling you? It didn't matter which way 2012 went. The Uniparty was going to pass a really, really bad healthcare bill. They were literally going to force you to buy healthcare at like a penalty. What kind of fucking industry does that? Could you imagine, like, oh, you didn't buy Comcast internet? Well, you're going to be dinged $100 every month until you buy Comcast internet. Why don't you have Comcast internet? What, you don't like high speed? Well, you really do need it. And if you don't want to get it, like, we're going to go ahead and just penalize you every month until you just go ahead and sign up for that Comcast internet. I mean, that's basically what they did with health insurance. Oh, you don't like health insurance? You don't want health coverage? Well, you need to pay $2,000 a month, or a year, I should say, in taxes and penalties. You might as well get that health insurance now because it's cheaper than that penalty we're going to hit you with. It was brutal. And guys, I was out of work for 6 months. I got hit with that penalty. It was like, oh, what year was this? Was it 2017? I got laid off and like I didn't have health care for 6 months. You know, I actually had to pay like $750 or something ridiculous. Like, wow. Like, I had to pay that for losing my job, losing my health insurance. Brutal. It would have been that way anyway. Mitt Romney or Obama, they were both going to pass that bullshit. Uniparty is real. And those guys were on the same team, and they still are. It really wasn't until 2014, though. I accidentally stumbled upon the Red Pill subreddit. You probably heard me talk about this in another story. I stumbled upon the Red Pill subreddit, and that's all about women. That's all about sexual nature and human nature and the nature of dating and romance. But I tell you this, that really led me down the political subreddits as well. I don't know what happened. I think maybe 2015, guys. I was actually a Bernie fan. I was still thinking, we really got to take these rich people down a notch. They have so much money. We can just give that money to the poor people and we'll all live happy lives. What a bunch of BS that is. And it was my uncle who really helped me see the light. In 2015, I literally went to go have Thanksgiving with my uncle. I basically invited myself. I was like, hey, you guys have any room at your Thanksgiving table? And I went to the East Coast and I just had Thanksgiving with my second cousins. All Trump fans. By the time I left, I was a Trump fan. It really, I'm not going to lie, the Donald and all the awesome memes and all the pro-Trump stuff, I've really seen the light. there is no question. I am all for meritocracy. I am all for the Bill of Rights. I'm all for smaller government, lower taxes. And you know what else, guys? Abortion is wrong. It is murder. I used to not think that. I used to think it's a woman's right to choose. I think the only thing a woman should have the right to choose is basically if she wants to have sex or not, and then she should have to be responsible for those consequences along with the man who impregnates her. It is complete bullshit that a girl can get pregnant and then murder her baby legally or decide to keep it but stick the bill to the man without any input from the man whatsoever. So when people say, what about women's rights? I often ask them, well, what right does a man have that a woman doesn't? They literally cannot tell you because women have more rights than men. What rights do they have? They can murder babies or they can have them and stick the bill to another man. All sorts of stuff, guys. I'm kind of going on a rant now, but 2015 was when I really officially came over to the Trump side. And I'm not going back because the left has completely gone too far, guys. They have gone too far. They're no longer for free speech. They're no longer for the Second Amendment. They're no longer for any of the Bill of Rights. They want to have equality of outcome, which is basically communism. I'm all about equality of opportunity. And the Democrats used to be as well. They are now ponying up to the communist base they have and talking about equality of outcome. That is fucking communism. Other countries have tried this. It doesn't work. People end up getting killed. It's terrible. Yeah, that's basically where things are now, guys. The left, it's not even really me. I might have shifted a little bit on some issues. I'm definitely not pro-choice. I'm pro-life. I think that's the biggest shift that I had. But I don't think that I had much much more of a shift than that. The left has gone way too far left. They are full-blown communists now. So yeah, I mean, with that, there's no question Trump is, it's not just the lesser of two evils. He's so good. Like, he's a great president. Look at this economy, guys. I have never been so well off in my entire life. And I work in tech, right? Like, the tech sector that hates Trump, they benefit from him the most. They don't even know what's going to happen to them if Trump doesn't get elected. You think venture capitalists out in California are going to even stick around in California? Nope. Not if the state of California passes a wealth tax. A wealth tax, meaning you're taxed on things you own every single year. You own a car, like you're basically taxed on your net worth. And like, your net worth may not be in cash, so how do you pay for it? Well, you got to sell your assets. It's worse than the current theft that taxation is, right? This is ultra theft. All that stuff really worries me. There's just no question about it. The left has gone insane. They've gone so far to the left. And that is where I am at today. They're never going to come back. And even if they did, I would never trust them again. Looking at all the stuff that Hillary Clinton and all the things that is going on in the dark world, if you will. You can't even say the letter that comes after P. LMNOP. Yeah, what's that letter that comes after P? You can't even say it. YouTube will not process your video. YouTube will not let your video be viewed if you say that letter that comes after P. Nice. I see a guy with big Trump Pence flags. Man, Reno's awesome. Reno, you can still do this. Like, there's definitely a big liberal, crowd here. This is very blue, but it's also very red. And nobody's vandalizing cars or burning down houses. I haven't seen a single Antifa riot. It's been awesome. Don't come here, though, if you vote left. I don't want you here. Anyway, things are starting to open up here. We're going on about 22 minutes. I'll get this one on my channel today. It'll be good to talk to you guys again. I will just say I have been nervous about this. I have not lost any sleep, but certainly thinking about it. And here, hang on one second. Just checking in with someone here. There's like nobody here. I got here mad early thinking we were going to have a big line. There's nobody here. That tells me that Reno is probably going blue. Most of the people who voted early vote blue. Most of the people voting today are voting red. There's nobody here. Reno's going blue. That's okay. Nevada is Nevada. We kind of knew that was going to happen. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong. But yes, I have been apprehensive. I've been nervous about this day. Because what does it really mean? Like, I mean, if Biden is being honest, which he isn't an honest guy, as we know, right? He's a lying sack of shit. So hopefully all of his ponying up to the communist left is just bullshit. Because if he's being honest, we are in serious trouble if he wins. And if the House and the Senate go blue, the Supreme Court will be gone. They're going to start passing equity laws in regards to taxes and finance. I mean, holy shit, when the government starts limiting how much money you get back in taxes based on your skin color, we are going to have a civil war for sure. Yeah, I mean, the more that they keep pushing against my race and my gender, the more I love my race and gender, and the more I go to the right. And yeah, they've gone so fucking insane, guys. Box Day is very, very confident that today will be a Trump slide. And this is the person who predicted it last time accurately. This is a person with an over 150 IQ and with some amazing pattern recognition ability. I really, really put a lot of stock into what he says. And when I think about it, it makes me feel good. Of course, he can end up being wrong. But when he is that confident, it makes me feel good. I mean, we have seen the social media, right? The mainstream media says Biden's got it in the bag. The polls are all in his favor. Social media says nobody's going to his rallies. Nobody likes him. There is no 96-mile Biden parade in Arizona. There was one in Arizona for Trump. 96 miles of cars lined up. Trump is still bringing 20 to 50,000 people to his rallies, while Biden is bringing 10 to 20 people to his rallies. So there's all those statistics, right? Also that the black and Latino vote for Trump is going way through the roof. And I mean, that's all it's going to take for a Trump landslide. We will see. I am nervous. I will be keeping my eye on Vox Populi today because Vox said he was going to give us real-time updates, and he is hoping that by 9:30 Eastern he'll be able to tell you with certainty who has won. And that's the thing. I really want to know who wins tonight, if not early tomorrow morning. Even if it is Biden, I don't want this drug out. I really don't want to know. I want to be in a situation where we know who is the president. We can plan accordingly tonight. I don't want to wait for weeks for this decision. It's not going to be good for our country. Man, if Trump loses, though, you're going to see Nancy Pelosi trying to remove him from office ahead of January 20th, which isn't how it's supposed to go, but they're going to use his loss as a way to expedite his departure and get somebody in there well ahead of January 20th, because if he loses, they have to deal with the fact that he can now go nuclear on them. Like anything he's got with the DOJ, evidence of wrongdoings, criminal prosecutions, all of it, he can push it through as president if he doesn't win the election, because he has nothing to lose. That's something that I've been thinking about. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. And yeah, let me check in with this person real quick. Sorry about that pause. There are some nice people here. We're just trying to figure out where at this high school we are going. Apparently I parked on the north side of the school and the poles are on the south side. So I'm going to go move my car. Be right back. Looks like the polling place was on the south side of this high school. I was parked on the north side. There are plenty of people here now. And it looks like we're about to form up a line. 25 minutes, they will open this. I hope they open it early. It is 38 degrees out here, and I'm freezing my balls off. I will update this video shortly when this is all said and done, and then I'll post it on my channel.
Okay, so I'm now sitting in the car. I don't know if the audio quality is different, if it's picking up a recording from the built-in microphone in this car, or if it's picking up from my Airpods, so I apologize. But I voted. It's over. Before we just cut the video, we were standing, I think I was on the north side of the school when nobody was there, right? Turns out the south side was where the polling station was. There were at least, 25 people ahead of me. Not a big deal. I maybe waited for about 40 minutes total. A couple things I didn't like. One, the state of Nevada just blew my registration, so I had to do an on-the-spot voter registration, which is cool that they do that, but it's called a provisional ballot, which means, I don't necessarily know that it will be counted tonight. It's just one ballot, just me, but, I think it's going to be reflected in the counts in a couple days from now, as these things start pouring in. But yeah, voted for Trump, and then Reno and Nevada's ballot, other than that, was pretty effing boring. Just about every person running for a local position is running as no party. They want to stay neutral. They don't go Republican or Democrat, except a few of them. So in the ones that said no party and there was a choice between two candidates, I voted for the male. I just opted for the man. It's all I know. Okay, so it's I don't know what party you are, but here's a man and here's a woman. Okay, I'm going to vote for the person who statistically is going to have a higher IQ. That would be the man. So, voted for the man in every situation. If it was a no-party choice between two men, I voted for whoever sounded more American. If the dude had a Spanish last name, he didn't get my vote. That's just how it is. Sorry. I'm voting for my people, my country, everything. If I don't know what you stand for, and it's you versus the other guy, and the other guy sounds white and you don't, I'm going for the white guy. I don't care what that sounds like to anyone else. So did that. There was a provision, I guess they call them propositions or provisions here, and they wanted to amend the Nevada state constitution to include man and man as definition of marriage. I immediately voted against that. So they did try to get some progressive shit passed in terms of what is defined as a marriage in the state of Nevada. I passed on that, or I voted no, so hopefully that crap doesn't pass like it did in California. The other thing that I do want to say is I don't like this. The systems were all electronic. While that did make it very easy to push a button on the screen and like stick a little card in there to verify the ballot. Like that part was cool, but I do believe voting machines that are electronic are susceptible to intentional bugs or intentional programming so that your Republican ballot doesn't count. Though it was verified. I did get what they called a thermal printer, but basically it was like a receipt printer, but it had a screen on it, and it literally printed your ballot for you and showed it. So you could see the actual official ballot that you were creating, and it did say Trump on it, so I'm not super concerned, but I don't like electronic voting booths. I think they are way more susceptible to issues than a paper one. And I wish the state of Nevada had me officially registered in the system. I've tried registering twice now, and they still couldn't get me in. I don't know why. So it's called a provisional license. Or a provisional ballot. They made me sign it. They took my address. They got I did bring my temporary license. Shit. Oh, I thought I lost it. I should have a real license coming in the mail any day now, and I won't need this, but this is all I have for the moment. It's about 7:22 a.m., and I have pulled the trigger for Donald Trump again. Remember my voting history. 2004 was Kerry. 2008, Obama. 2012, Obama. 2016, Trump. 2020, Trump. And I really hope it's a landslide. But either way, I hope this thing is called in the next 48 hours and we have a president or a candidate who concedes. I don't want this to be dragged out. I don't want this to turn into some kind of a coup. And if Donald Trump is voted out, I want him to be allowed to continue his term until January 20th, the way it has been for every other president. It does seem like if they can win the election, the Democrats will try to remove him well ahead of January 20th because they're scared of what he's going to do with the remaining months that he has. The other thing I'm going to say is, man, if Joe Biden wins, like what's going to happen to the mainstream media? Are they still gonna talk about Trump 24/7 and blame everything on Trump for the next 4 years? It'll be real interesting. Like, what happens to Trump if come January 20th he's no longer the president? Does he just become a guy on Twitter? Do they block him? Like, what? How does it go from here? And I gotta say, even if we lose today, I think the movement can't be stopped at this point. This is not the Tea Party of 2008. That was a joke. This is a real movement. And even if Donald Trump loses, I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think all future Republican candidates will be successful if they are on this side. Not the old kind of rhino type of Republicans. Those guys suck. If they're like Trump, they should be able to keep this movement going. I can't really think of anything else for my election day video here, guys, my little monologue. I just think the conclusion is that why I'm voting Trump and why I will continue to vote for the Republicans probably for the remainder of my life, if we still have a country to vote for, is because the Democrats have really, really moved too far to the left. They could have really stopped this shit. They could have said from the beginning in 2015, 2012, whenever this really started, like they could have just said, no, we are not communists. We have this agreement with the Republicans. At least we can agree that this is a capitalist nation, and that's what we like. And we like people who work hard. But no, they're ponying up to the communist left, and I can't have anything to do with it. And I realize that communism is preferable to globalism, but globalism has already hit the United States, and we are 20 nations in one geography. Essentially, going from a globalist society to a communist one at this point would be hell. Yeah. Can't have it. Can't vote for it. Let's let the God Emperor win. Let's hope he wins. If you haven't, you need to go out and vote. Like, you really have no excuse. You don't have to go to school today. You don't have to go to work today. They're all required to let you have time off to vote. It's against the law. So I don't want to hear any excuses for why you, one of my 251 subscribers, did not vote unless you're, in Switzerland or something. If you're a U.S. citizen, you better have casted your ballot for Trump today or before. But that's basically it. Now I'm pulling back into my house, and, I got a ton of calls this morning, but I'm thinking I might just say to my candidates, hey, I'm at the polls. That way I can kind of chill. Nobody really wants to work today. Everybody really just kind of wants to sit in front of the TV and watch the polls like it's an all-day football game. I will have my eyes on Vox Populi. I'm not going to be watching mainstream media, not going to be listening. I mean, the only people I take seriously at this point, Dan Bongino, Tim Pool, and Vox Day. That's basically it. In terms of politics, those are my three, right? So Bongino is definitely conservative ink, and Tim Pool he's an interesting guy, but I'll be watching Vox for those.